What's up, guys? So it's that time again. We didn't do one last month. We had way too much crap going on. But this month we're back. We've got another mystery box. This time with a theme. She has a lot more fun whenever I give her a little bit of a stipulation to work around. Like last time we did Sega games. And I think she really enjoyed that, did you?
I did.
This month I decided that the theme should be racing games. Now, we're going to go into this with the knowledge of racing games tend to be a little bit of quantity over quality. Because you go to any of these stores, racing games are fairly cheap, but more often than not, they kind of suck. But suck is not always the case. So hopefully we got some good ones. And I know at least one in here is solid because I did have one request for her just to keep an eye out for. I didn't care which one, but my single request was Gran Turismo. And I do know there is at least one of them in here, so that makes me happy. And we will go through and find out which one it is. Or ones, maybe ones. I think it's just one. But otherwise, the stipulations were the same, $60 limit. Carts can be loose. Discs, I ask that they're complete. So let's crack open the box. I will not look down in it, and we will see what we got. So she said that they are in order, but there's a couple cartridges. Is it just two?
Two cartridges.
There are two cartridges that I can do in any order that I want. They can fit in anywhere, so I'm going to do them first. Is that okay?
Yep.
Feels like they're both Super Nintendo games. They are both Super Nintendo games. So we're going to start with this one here. And this one we've got, you guys get to see it before I do, Redline F1 Racer.
What can I really say about Redline? It's a Super Nintendo, almost like a Formula One style of racing. Not exactly my cup of tea. It does struggle a little bit with controls. It might just be because I was on this track that was raining, and that might be the problem. As you can see by watching, I do struggle to control this car. So some of it might be a fun game if you can really get a handle on the controls, but seems like it would be kind of a struggle to get right, you know? Seems fun, but not sure how often I'm going to be coming back to it.
It's safe to say I don't know much about probably most of any of these games in here, so we're going to have a little fun and see what all of these are like. So that's one. And the other Super Nintendo game, again, you guys get to see it before I do. Stunt Race. Ooh, what is Stunt Race?
Stunt Race was actually quite an interesting experience. It almost seemed like it was a little ahead of its time. It had this nice 3D aesthetic, but 3D on the Super Nintendo was something that always seemed to struggle. It does work, but it felt really choppy in playing. And just like Redline, it was a little difficult to control. I would argue that racing games hit their prime whenever analog controls really came in, because you could really fine-tune those movements instead of just you having that digital button that's like, okay, we're gonna go as hard left as this thing will go, or hard right as this thing will go. They did account for that a little bit here. Your D-pad did like a left and a right turn, but then your L and R buttons did almost like a sharper turn. This one was definitely fun. This is one that I feel like I would want to go and try and get a little bit better at, you know? And I didn't point it out in the Redline clip, but Redline specifically felt odd because there was no music. It was just the noise of the car, whereas this one has a nice upbeat soundtrack to it, which reminds me a lot actually of Mario Kart 64.
Just judging by the claymation characters on the label, it looks like it might be kind of cute, so I'm actually kind of excited to just look into this one and see what it's about.
I always pick out games because they're cute.
Yeah, priority one for her with game picking is cute. Honestly, that can be fun though, because sometimes cute works, like Penguin Land. So now we have the stack. I did glance down a second ago and I did see what this first one is. This one hits the Gran Turismo bug of Gran Turismo 3.
Now, a fun little thing about Gran Turismo 3, specifically number 3, is this was potentially the first PlayStation 2 game that I ever played. I remember as a kid going over to my cousin's house, my cousin Joey, I've mentioned him before. One of the things he and I bonded over was games. He had Gran Turismo, and I remember sitting down and playing it with him. and having a really good time with it. As you can probably tell from the video and from just the past, the more realistic a driving game is, the worse I am at it. And don't worry, I am a good driver in real life, but in games, it's difficult. Gran Turismo 3 still plays incredibly well. I just am not good at it. But yeah, this game hits me with a wave of nostalgia of having fun with my cousin so long ago.
That's been at least 15 years ago. Actually, no, the PS3's been out for 18. God, the PS3 is 18 years old. So it's probably been upwards of 20 years ago that my cousin showed me Gran Turismo. And I liked it, and I'm excited to actually get to revisit that memory with this one. Next up, we have, that's a jewel case. Okay, is it PlayStation or Dreamcast?
PlayStation.
It's PlayStation, okay. So, PlayStation, what is it? Had it upside down. It is Snowcross Championship Racing.
So I actually do like snow-based racing games. Like Snowboard Kids was one of my favorite games on the N64 growing up because it was just so much fun. The slidey around while you're trying to beat out other people is actually a really good time. Now, the difference between that and this, other than this one you're on snowmobiles instead of snowboards, is you actually do have to control your speed. And this is not a game where you can just go full send and pray for the best, as you can plainly see by how terribly I'm actually playing. But this is a game that benefits from what I was talking about a little bit ago with analog controls being able to give you that finer movement. As you can see, I'm not crashing into every wall, just every other wall. This one's fun. This one is one that I would definitely want to come back to and try and actually get better at.
Wanted a different type of racing.
So we got snowmobiles this time, not just cars. Once again, I have no idea about this game, but you know what? It's a racer. Racers can be fun. I'm excited to give it a try. So next up, that's an Xbox One game, I believe, isn't it?
Yes.
That's an Xbox One game. So we have Project Cars.
I'm trying to decide what would be the best way to approach talking about this game because, as I said a little bit earlier, the more realistic a racing game is, the worse I tend to be at it. But I don't think it's fair to say that I just suck at this, because the controls were so tight and your turn was so quick over to any side that it feels like this was designed with almost like a racing sim setup, like an actual wheel and pedals in front of you kind of thing. It feels like it was designed for that style of play. So I feel like just saying I sucked at it, therefore bad, is not fair, Either way, this one is definitely difficult to play with a controller, or maybe I am just bad at it. But if you like this style of game, then this definitely could be something that could work for you. But I'm not sure how well it works for me.
Always excited to get new games to try. So let's set it over. The next one, this feels like PlayStation. Yeah, this is too dense to be Wii. This is PlayStation 2, correct?
Yes.
Okay, PlayStation 2. This is from the grid, I think. We've got ATV Off-Road Fury.
Greatest Hits.
4. Greatest Hits Edition.
So right off the jump, I want to apologize for having to mute this clip. The game just started playing copyrighted music. I certainly did not expect to hear 30 Seconds to Mars whenever I booted up this game, but it literally started playing that song, so I had to mute this clip so YouTube doesn't get mad at me. One thing I did not expect to have to describe a racing game as is floaty. It as you can see from the clips here, it actually feels, whenever the ATVs kind of jump, it almost feels like you're on the moon with how bouncy they actually are. And you lose a lot of control whenever you're in the air. Actually, you lose all control whenever you're in the air. Much like some of the other games on here, though, this does feel like one that could be... It's infuriating whenever you first play it because you have no idea how to control it, but once you get a feel for the controls and how to actually steer and turn properly, I feel like this could be a lot of fun to actually sit down with, especially if you had a couple of friends to play this game with. This feels like one that would be a really good yelling and screaming at your couch neighbor kind of game.
So, fun fact, we got the grid ones was our first stop on the trip, and I gave April access to my game collection spreadsheet, so that way, whenever we do this, she would make sure not to grab a duplicate. Whoopsies, she didn't check because I actually did have that one already.
But not the greatest hits
Not
version.
the greatest hits edition, but funnily enough, this was actually in that box of games her dad gave me way back, like what, 2 Christmases ago now?
Yeah. And he's a big ATV racer.
Yeah, he's big ATV racer, so it makes sense he had it, and it makes sense she thought, oh, ATVs. Oh well.
Different type of racing.
I have two of this now. I have both the greatest hits and the regular edition. Who knows? There's only like 200 some odd PlayStation 2 greatest hits games. That might be a fun collection to try for way along in the future. Next up, we've got wrong direction. We have MotoGP 06.
This is another one of those games where you really have to be careful about your speed because, oh my god, you go fast. I crashed so many times because I did not get how to make the turns because all I wanted to do was go fast. Like, just look at this. The devs of Sonic 06 needed to talk to these guys about speed because, oh my god. Because of that sense of speed, though, this game could be fantastic if you can nail how to actually control it. I started to kind of get a feel for it, but I just kept crashing. I do want to go back though and really try and hone in how to make these turns in a way that doesn't kill my person, you know?
So I don't have enough experience with the Xbox 360 or with Xbox in general. Actually, it's a very new line of systems that I've been exploring, and I'm excited to give a little more love to that line. And why not add to that with mystery box games? Next up, we've got, and this is NASCAR kart racing. Oh boy. Oh boy. Nintendo, what the hell, man? What the hell?
Maybe he was going into this with my expectations literally on the floor, but I have to tell you, this game was actually really fun. I might just like kart racers, but the NASCAR game on the Wii might have been the most fun out of all the games in this box. If you play with just the Wiimote, because my nunchucks were being screwy, I played this using the Wii U, and so my nunchucks were being a little screwy for some reason. But if you liked like the motion controls in Mario Kart Wii, this plays almost exactly like that. I have really no complaints. It was fun.
A different type of racing game.
A different type of racing game. And kart racers kart racers, I don't think there's such a thing as a mediocre kart racer. They're either great or they're terrible. And sometimes they're so terrible they can be fun because you just revel in the jank. And just looking at this, I kind of wonder if that's what this is going to be. So I'm looking forward to a good time. And last one, this feels like another PS2 game.
Yes.
This is, I wondered whenever you said back in Charlotte that it was like something relevant.
Yes.
To us, and like that makes sense. Crash Nitro Kart.
It's wild how both different and familiar this game feels. I had said in the other recording that Crash Team Racing, we played a lot of like the remake of it on the Switch. So much of this feels the same. Like that tells me that the remake did a really good job of capturing the charm of the original, but they tightened up the controls so much. They made the controls feel so good that going back and playing Nitro Kart here was a strange, it felt like a step backward. It felt a little clunkier, but that makes sense given that it's, 20 years old at this point. If you love the Crash Racing games, if you liked the original, and if you liked the new one and want to go back and experience the originals, then definitely go for it. But I just have to say the new version of it is by far the definitive experience of it, because the new one just feels so good compared to this one, even though this one does still feel really good.
A lot of memories with a game like this, so I'm excited to have this because I have
The game of my childhood.
her childhood game, Crash Team Racing, the PlayStation. This is actually the one that she grew up playing. This disc right here is the one that she grew up playing. I don't think this is the next Crash Racing game. It might have been, actually. Either way, more Crash Racing is never a bad thing. So that's it for the box. I don't know if y'all were counting or not, but again, 60 bucks of budget. She got 9 games. I don't care what level of good they are, 9 games for 60 bucks, pretty good. A fun little thing about it, when we were at the grid, unbeknownst to us going in, they actually had a buy two?
Buy 2, get 1 free under $20.
It's buy 2, get 1 free under 20 bucks on any games that they had. And that was really cool. I flashed up the price charting values whenever I showed the gameplay of each of the games. So you already know what each one of them was valued at. I gave her a budget of $60. And how much did you wind up spending?
It was about $60.50.
So she was literally just over budget, and 50 cents, who cares, that's fine. And the total value of these games came out to right around $65. So she did fantastic. So that's it for the Better Half mystery box. I like this idea of doing themes for these. You know, like I said, Sega game, we did a Sega theme. The original one was just the first one, so it could be whatever. And this one was racing games. So 2 questions for you guys. What are some other themes that we could do for mystery boxes in the future? And I would specifically like to ask you guys a theme for Southeast Game Exchange in July, because I want to give her a bit bigger of a budget for that one. So is there a specific theme you guys would like to see for Game Exchange specifically? List of themes, Game Exchange specific theme. What do you guys think? But I think that's going to be it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to bringing you even more mystery box videos just like this one as the days go on. So again, thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, y'all.